Imagine spending millions on a component that doesn't improve performance, doesn't create fairness, and doesn't even change the racing. Now imagine being forced to do it. That's exactly what just happened in Formula One. And Lewis Hamilton is not holding back. Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear might change the way you look at F1 regulations forever. Welcome back to Fuel Up Daily, your daily fix of everything Formula One. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most outspoken reactions we've heard all season. Lewis Hamilton has slammed the FIA's latest regulatory changes, calling them a complete waste of money. But is this just frustration talking? Or is there a bigger issue at play in how Formula One handles its evolving technical rules? Stick around, because later in the episode, we'll break down how this change could signal a wider crack in the FIA's approach, and how teams are finding clever ways to still bend the rules. And hey, if you're enjoying our content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you never miss an update. Let's start with the facts. The FIA, Formula One's governing body, has introduced a new regulation focused on flexible wings, specifically the front wings. While rear wing tests were already implemented at the beginning of the season, the front wing regulation came into effect only now, during the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. Why the delay? According to the FIA, it was an effort to give teams enough time to redesign their front wings without disrupting their early season development budgets. Sounds fair, right? But here's where the drama begins. Teams were forced to spend significant resources on adapting to this new regulation. New components, new testing procedures, and lots of late-night work in wind tunnels and CAD rooms across the paddock. All for what? According to Lewis Hamilton, nothing. Following the qualifying session at Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, Hamilton didn't hold back. When asked whether he felt any difference with the new front wing regulations, his response was direct. The balance is definitely not as nice as we had before, but it hasn't made any odds. What a waste of money. Let that sink in for a second. One of the most experienced and successful drivers in the history of the sport essentially saying the FIA forced every team to spend huge sums on redesigns, for a result that changed nothing. He continued, "It's just wasted everyone's money, everyone's wings still bend, and everyone's had to make new wings and spend more money. It just doesn't make sense." Oof! This kind of language is rare even in a sport known for its political undercurrents. For Hamilton to take such a public stance, and so boldly, tells us this isn't just about a single regulation. It's about a larger frustration brewing within the paddock. And wait, he wasn't done. Even after answering unrelated questions, Hamilton circled back to this point, adding, "Should have given the money to charity. I know, let's waste some money." So what's really going on here? To understand the gravity of Hamilton's comments, we need to zoom out. Formula One operates under a cost cap, a strict budget limit introduced in recent years to level the playing field and prevent financial arms races. In that context, every million matters. Forcing teams to re-engineer components that don't change performance not only wastes money, it undermines the entire philosophy of budget capping. It forces smaller teams to cut corners elsewhere just to remain compliant. And as Hamilton rightly points out, the problem still persists. The wings are still flexing. Teams are just finding smarter ways to pass load tests while retaining the aerodynamic flexibility that gives them a competitive edge. In short, the FIA's new test doesn't fix the problem. It just changes the way teams hide it. If you're enjoying this deep dive, hit that like button and drop a comment with your take. Do you think Hamilton's right? Or is this just elite frustration bubbling up? This isn't just about a front wing. It's about how Formula One governs itself. When regulations are reactive, rushed, or ineffective, it affects the sport at every level, from design teams and engineers to driver morale and fan trust. Let's not forget, fans want fair racing. They want technology to matter, yes, but not loopholes or pointless expenditures that don't improve the show on track. Hamilton's remarks are essentially a call for smarter regulation. If technical directives aren't enforceable or meaningful, why issue them in the first place? Why disrupt design timelines and spend millions only to see no difference on race day? Now let's talk about the actual Spanish GP weekend for Hamilton and Mercedes. After describing his car as undrivable during Friday practice, things looked grim. But by Saturday, the team had made significant strides. Hamilton qualified P5, even outpacing his new Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc, something he hadn't done since the Chinese Grand Prix earlier this season. How did that turnaround happen? "We didn't really change anything in the car," Hamilton explained. "That's the twist. Mercedes lost downforce due to an issue with the floor, which wasn't intentional. They discovered the problem post-practice, corrected it, and found pace again, proving that performance in F1 isn't always about big regulation changes. It's often about fine-tuning and understanding your machine. So where do we go from here?" The FIA now faces pressure, not just to regulate, but to innovate in how it enforces these rules. If a new directive can be sidestepped, it's not effective. If it costs millions and yields zero improvement, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. Expect teams to push back harder in technical meetings. Expect journalists and fans to scrutinize further regulation rollouts. And expect Hamilton, whether you agree with Lewis Hamilton or not, one thing's clear. This isn't just a rant. It's a reflection of a growing concern across the paddock. When a regulation comes into play and doesn't move the needle, everyone feels it. From the engineers stretched thin, redesigning parts, to the accountants trying to keep balance sheets within the cap, to the drivers who have to adapt on track for seemingly no benefit. Regulation should enhance the racing, not complicate it without reason. And while safety and fairness are paramount, so is efficiency. In today's Formula One, where sustainability, budget caps, and tighter competition are buzzwords of the era, wasting millions on a flawed fix is something no one, big team or small, can afford. The sport is evolving, no doubt, but with that evolution comes growing pains. The FIA has the tough job of maintaining integrity and parity, but maybe it's time they start listening more closely to the paddock, to the data, and yes, to the drivers like Hamilton who aren't afraid to speak up. Because here's the truth: every time a rule change backfires, it chips away at the sport's credibility. Fans notice, teams grumble, and sometimes legends speak up. And when someone with 7 world titles tells you it's all been for nothing, that's not noise, that's a wake-up call. So whether you're Team Hamilton, Team FIA, or just Team Racing,